Welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raykel Tolson, and we are broadcasting on WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network, where we have a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. Now, if you have been any of those three, all of them, one of them, some of them, I need you to do me a favor and go to www.wytv7.org, hit the green donate button, okay? Because we need money to stay on the air for all the podcasters we have. Also, we have financial education workshops for students. We send students to college and we feed families. So go and donate. It is a tax write off. We are in 2022, the year of the family. This month is May. Now, May is all about parenting for me, okay? Because it's Mother's Day. But because we end in May, we're going to also salute to fathers. So this is just one big month of parenting. We're saluting parenting and we're talking about, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, everything parenting. That's what we're talking about. And my first guest is Miss Amy Jo Loveland. I'm gonna say your name. I'm gonna try it. Kikumoto.
Kikumoto, like I'm gonna kick your moto.
Kikumoto. I love it. I met Amy Jo. We call her AJ. I met her at the MommyCon. So I met so many awesome mothers. I won't be able to bring them all on this month, but we'll bring them, when we come back. But I wanted to start with AJ because she has 6 kids, and so it's like we're going to talk about parenting. Let's start with somebody who has a lot of kids. and she's also, like me, a children's author and publisher. So we're going to talk about that too. But first, welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast, AJ.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
So tell everybody a little bit about you before you became a parent. Tell us about you, AJ.
Oh, I have lots of adventures. So I graduated from Boise State University. I'm a dancer, was president of the dance team, went on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for a year and a half in Atlanta, Georgia. And then, it was amazing. And then I jumped in the car as soon as I got home. I got home in January, jumped in the car 4 months later, had to work off the butter and the fried. Everything's fried in the South.
Right. Right.
Work off some pounds and drove to Denver all by myself. I'm from Boise, Idaho, and tried out for the Denver Nuggets, made the dance team. And so I danced with the Denver Nuggets for a year and then met my husband through a church activity and we got married and 6 kids after that.
Wow. What are the age groups of your kids?
Yes, my youngest is a kindergartner and my oldest is a senior. And that's a fun story because I was told, being on birth control, that I would have a hard time getting pregnant. Well, try 1 month. And I was like, okay, I must be fertile myrtle here. And I had our first and then 2 miscarriages, unsuccessful. Let me emphasize the unsuccessful IVF. And we thought we were just blessed with 1 child and we were going to have to start adopting some kids because we always wanted about 4 kids. Notice the word 4.
Right.
And a trip to Hawaii. My husband's Hawaiian and good chunk of his family lives in Maui. Wow, so hard to visit family.
Right. I want to go and see your in-laws.
That's what I said. I was like, I'm sold with that. Like that's just that right there. Got us on Maui. I love it. So and then fertility gods must have opened up in Hawaii, and then we were blessed with 5 more kids to have 6. So I have lots of sympathy and lots of love for all the mamas out there that cannot get pregnant, that are just feeling like all is lost, been there, done that. Like I feel you, I hear you, and I'm sending lots of love your way because it is hard, 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 and nobody gets it until you've been through it. So I feel you, and send lots of love your way.
Yeah, so you know what? Let's stop right there and let's talk about that because you did have one child already,
Mhm.
and but you had in your head that you wanted four. So what's the thought process of having the miscarriages? And did you give up? And you did the IVF, and some people spend tons of money on IVF. How many times did you do IVF?
We did it once, and that
Once.
was enough. It is so expensive. It is so
Yeah.
painful. It is the whole 9 yards. Giving yourself shots. I'll never forget. I'm on the couch having to give myself a shot. I look up and I see a mouse run across. I'm like, I give up. Like, I now have mice in my house. Like,
Yeah.
I just saw
Wow.
Fat Mickey running across, and I'm like, and we ain't at
Wow.
Disneyland, so.
Right.
So
But
it's
you know what? And so that's really interesting. So you did try it the one time and
Mhm.
then it didn't work. What's the mindset? Do you just say, especially because you have, faith in God, do you just say, "Okay, God, this is not the way. Show me the way. I'll be willing to adopt." What was your mindset then?
Raykel, I'm really grateful that you asked that question, because a woman of faith obviously served a year and a half of my life serving people, teaching people about God.
Hmm.
Um, that really did rock my testimony for sure, because I went from easy peasy to get pregnant to now I can't even buy a kid. I mean, literally, like
Right. Right.
IVF, right? Can't even buy
Right.
one. So that emotion and that stress level is undescribable, and definitely questioned my faith, my just all of that for sure. But to bring it back,
Hmm.
like you said, like the Bible, the Bible, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So the Book of Mormon also for me, which is another testament of Jesus,
Hmm.
and just focusing on Jesus, focusing on what would he do? Well, he would have faith. He would have faith that things would work out. And honestly, in that point in my life, I was like, well, you know what? We're blessed with one, feeling that, and God has another path. So whatever that path is, I just have to succumb to him and have faith that it will all work out. And in that moment is when we conceived and got pregnant for number two. So
Wow. So
isn't that interesting how that,
yeah.
how I had to go through those trials, right? Like I really had to, whip the devil, as I say, and have those challenges, and then just have that moment of, you know what, this is you. This is you, God. This is you, Jesus. You are in charge, and I just have to succumb to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think what I try, and it's hard for, because sometimes when you didn't go through it, sometimes it's hard to like really share with people. But sometimes we really have to have the attitude of gratitude
Yes.
in all.
Yeah.
It's like in all things, we
Mhm.
have to give thanks. We have to find the thing to be grateful for, and sometimes like you were, you let it go and you let God, and God, gave you the children naturally. But sometimes it's doing that and God gives us children, I like to call it supernatural, because they give us through adoption, or
Yes.
they give it, because somebody, gives us a child. There's stories that people have given people children because they could not, like through the regular adoption channels. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
there,
my brother and his wife, they have fostered
yeah.
and now have adopted two additional children. So now they have seven.
Wow, you guys
Right,
love it.
right. And their oldest is like, I think 12. I mean,
Oh
so
my
yeah, I
gosh.
know. I
Oh
know.
my gosh.
I
So
know.
tell me about your kids though. You have some other interesting things because you have a tell us about your kids. Mhm.
Well, and I'm glad that you asked. That was the whole preface of our first book was, was Zoe's Great Adventures, how she learns to talk. Well, the question is, well, why did she have to learn how to talk? Well, 4 of my kids have apraxia of speech. So apraxia of speech, as you might know, it's a neurological disconnect. So from the brain to the mouth, they don't know how to make the sound. So, a typical development of a child would be mama, 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 da, 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 babble, babble, babble. My kids never did that. They couldn't even create that sound to say mama, mama, mama. So they were mute. They never even talked till they were like 4 or 5.
Really? So tell us tell us more about that, because and this was not your first child. These were your 4 children that you had to pray for and get, and then this. And so, oh my gosh, what's going on in your head?
Amen. Boy, did you just nail that on the head. Be careful with what you pray for, right? Like, I'm like, okay.
Right.
I forgot to slip in, with no challenges,
Right.
I forgot that part in my prayers,
Right.
But, like you said, God won't give you more than you can handle. And boy, sometimes you question that and you're like, I don't know, God. You're pushing to the edge.
Right.
But you're right. Like, it was a lot to handle. And I know so much more now than I did in the moment. And in the moment, I'm like, okay, I know I have a master's degree in elementary ed, but this isn't right. Like, she should be talking, and we're like 2. And so, I did some phone calls with the school district, and they recommended me to a program, and it's called Developmental Pathways. Okay. And so I contacted them. They said, oh, well, we have to do like a testing. Well, it was a full-on testing for the kids, like where they play. So for kids that young, it's playing. And they're like, yeah, you highly qualified. I was like, oh, dear. So we qualified for the OT, the PT, the SLP, make up some acronyms now.
You qualified for.
We qualified for that too,
Right. Right.
So it was a great learning experience for me. And that's how I took that attitude. Being an educator is, wow, like, I'm excited to learn about this. Like, this is great that I have full, like, one-on-one experience here in my home that I get to learn from. So I'm asking questions with the speech teacher and, the occupational therapist, and going, okay, like, what is your thinking? Why are we doing this? So she'd have them blow bubbles. So she was teaching the mouth to create. Oh, right. So things like that. So in that play, she was teaching them skills. So that just blew me away. Like, I was
that's blowing me away right now. Oh my God.
Right. So she was training the mouth to create, to create that connection, right? I mean, right. We just said it was a neurological disconnect. So in play, how can we help the mouth? So like whistles, that was another thing. We did a lot of whistles, like the train whistle. I got all these things up in the house. I got the train whistle. We had to like blow down into that wooden tube,
Okay. Yeah.
Just different things like that to help the mouth be able to make those movements. Then we could take the next step to help create sound. Like, it was.
Tell me this, because we're gonna have to go to commercial break in a minute. But tell me this. Yes. How long did it last? The all those things that you were talking about before your daughter started speaking?
Oh, like a year, 2 years, like a long time. So that brings into the love and the faith of God, right? Like, oh my gosh, like, is this even working? Like, are we on the right path? Is this all for naught? All those things go into your mind. And one thing I just wanted to say right before commercial break was that apraxia of speech is a newer diagnosis. It's a newer disorder. And I didn't know that at the time. And you start looking at the dates, and it's like right when we were going through the heat and the thick of it with my first, well, not my first child, but my first child that had apraxia. So it was technically my second child. And that's when all of this research and all this was coming out. And that's why I had to fire my first speech therapist, because she was an older speech therapist, and she just had farm animals, and she was like moo moo moo, and I was just like, I knew that wasn't working. I was like, that's old school. That's like what you would use for a typical child, and I know my kids aren't typical. So whatever you're doing, it's not working. We need to have higher thinking. I got a newer person that had just come out of speech school, and she was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is. We just did research on this. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, so how awesome is that? You know, God is great.
That is really cool. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I really want to get into the books because, you know, all parents have challenges. You know, parenting is very challenging. So I love the fact that you've done these books. So when we come back, we're going to get really into the books, okay? So you guys don't drop off after as the commercial. Stay on, watch the commercial, and then we'll be right back. I'm Dr. Raykel Tolson, host of Blessed Mindset Matters. Is your mind on your money? Are you ready to be more intentional with your money? Then get my free booklet, Mind on My Money, Plan, Pocket, Protect. In this booklet, I offer you practical suggestions on planning intentionally, pocketing wisely, and protecting your money. Get the booklet at www.raykeltolson.com. That's RaykelTolson. Get your free copy today. And we're back with AJ. Oh my gosh, you have gone through so much to be a parent, first of all. So for all those parents out there that are going through a lot, you are not alone. You are not alone. There are other parents out there that are experiencing some of the same things that you are experiencing. So you have to open up your mouth and talk. Go get the help like AJ. She went and got the help. Make the phone calls to the schools. The schools are great resources. But AJ, the books, let's talk more about these books because I'm just so blown away that you didn't just like, okay, I went through this. I learned all this stuff. I'm going to keep it to myself. No, you decided, let me teach other people. And I love that you chose to do it through children's books. So tell me about the Zoey adventures.
You know, what better way to teach is than through children's books, and children obviously have my heart. And so the first book, like I showed earlier, the Zoey's Great Adventures. So I have to talk about Zoey really quick. So all of our girls start with an A. Amy has an A and a Y. So, and then later I found out there's no Y in the Hawaiian alphabet. So, so I screwed that up, but you know, who knew? But I've got Aaliyah, Akira, Amaya, Akela, Olivia, and Charles Jr. So we have one boy.
Okay.
So, you know, Zoey is really like all of them, right?
Okay.
So A to Z.
So, yeah, got it. Yeah, that's cute.
So that's fun. And so the first book, you know, we do focus on the apraxia of speech. So horse therapy meets speech therapy. And we actually did that. We actually drove an hour to the barn every Friday. And, you know, the beginning of our books, it's just kind of a fun thing. Like, okay, so what is she wearing? Where are we going? What kind of a hat she has on? You know, so the next book, you know, she goes to Maui. So of course she's in a swimsuit. So a little prediction opportunities at the beginning.
Right.
And, you know, we meet Cracker Jack, the horse. And we do all of the like color words, you know, yellow, and, you know, when you're feeling lots of love, and you have the pink. And so we use color words. And then remember we talked about blowing bubbles. So there's the blowing the bubbles and learning how to use her mouth, and then riding backwards on the horse and feeling the horse's heartbeat, connecting with your heartbeat. So then you can relax and learn. And then throwing the ball and walking, standing. This is a fun one. And, you know, of course you have to have some humor. I have humor in all my books, you know, the horse poops, you know, and, you know, poop around, you know, you got to have fun with this. you know, in the car wash at the end with all the colors. And then finally her friends are nice to her. At the beginning, they were not nice to her because she couldn't talk. And so they were bullying her. So we talk about all of those things. We talk about what is hippotherapy and do some education in the back and ask, you know, some good intelligent questions of Zoey can do hard things. What are some hard things that you can do? What are some positive words and affirmations? And then at the end, you got to meet the horse. So we talk about the horse and what a typical day of a horse is and how it compares to you. You know, you have to eat breakfast and you eat your grains and your apples and peppermint for a treat. And then some real life actual pictures to show people that, you know, this is real, like this has really happened. And then of course, you know, meet the kid authors. So the kids be involved in all this. And I just have to jump in and say, you know, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? It's May.
Yes, it is. That is. So I was definitely going to talk about that too.
Right.
It is mental health. And I'm sure that if a kid is going through that, that has to affect their mental health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So great segue, leads right into our journal. So we created a mindfulness journal. And in fact, I'm just excited about this. You're inspiring me that we need to do like a fun, you know, off of the Mental Health Month. And it's Apraxia Awareness Month too. It's all.
Oh, is it?
It is. And the whole month is Apraxia Awareness Month. See?
Really?
You're right.
How cool is that I got you on
here? Right here. This is newsjacking right here. It's we're right on the cusp of this. May 14th is technically the day for Apraxia Awareness Day, but the whole month is Apraxia Awareness Month. So, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. You know, so I have a question for you. You may know. So if a baby is 2 and is not speaking, is that the time when a parent should take them to maybe check into apraxia, or do they have to wait till they're a little bit older?
Absolutely, right now. The second your mommy heart, that's how it started with me. And like I said, I have a master's degree in elementary ed, but none of that counted. Like it was my mommy. It was my mommy gut saying, this isn't right. Like, so if you're feeling like things aren't right, why not? But there's nothing to lose. Go to the doctor, get educated, get them tested, find out, and maybe go to get a second opinion. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting second and third opinions. And, you know, because my pediatrician at the time was like, oh, they'll grow out of it. Oh, they'll start talking, you know, when they're 2. And I'm like, it's a year and a half. And my first one was like, had like 50 words by now, you know? And I'm like,
and that's something because they do say that. They'll say, yo, some people are just, some kids are just slower than others as far as they, you know, they'll do it. But it seems like we should be more proactive.
Yes.
You know, and let me just say this to you and every other parent out there. Your children are perfect.
Oh, right.
Period. Our children are perfect exactly the way they are. Yes. But when we do see that there's some things, like you say, your mommy heart, it's okay to go and ask for help, because I think some people don't want to get the answer. Like if I just close my eyes, everything, you know, it'll go away, or maybe I'm just pretending, or, you know, maybe I'm just thinking it. They don't want to know the answer. But the apraxia or any other and I don't like to call it a disease. I was like, anything that your child has to deal with. Your child is not that.
I like to say
it's a challenge that your child may have to deal with. And it's just, you know, and then, I mean, it gives them their superpower.
It does. It absolutely
gives them their superpower. So you helped your kids develop their superpower, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to piggyback off of that, I have had many a conversation, more so when the kids were younger, because my kindergartner doesn't have, my bookends don't have the apraxia. Okay. Interestingly enough, but the conversations at the playground, right? And it's interesting. You can kind of see, like, you can kind of tell if a child might need some extra love, let's say it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And, conversation with the mom and just being really cool about it. Like, hey, have you ever looked into like preschool or, opportunities to, have your kid play with other children? And immediately the hands go up, they get defensive. Like you said, my kid's perfect. There's no problems. And I'm trying to say, I wasn't saying there was a problem,
Right. I'm not saying your kid is not
I
perfect.
wasn't saying that.
Absolutely, your kid is perfect.
Right. Right.
I like how you say you just need a little more love. I
Yes.
like that.
Yes, a little bit more love. And if that love, aka our first speech therapist, isn't working, you just need a little bit more love. You might need to fire that one and get more love for your child and really help them be successful. And that's what I loved about our therapists, is that they would come in, especially our OT. She was amazing. And she would look at the bigger picture and say, you know what? So your kid can't talk right now, but we can teach them how to be potty trained. Bingo. Like,
okay, can I tell you, I would take potty training over. It's like, let's do potty training. Yes.
That's what I said. I was like, hallelujah, amen, I love you. She was like very practical things. Like potty training. And in that process, we're helping them to talk, because they have to talk, right? Like, I got to go potty, I got to go pee pee, I got to go poo poo, they have to say these words. So in that, so I loved that. Like, if this is their weakness, quote unquote, for my kids, it was speech, then let's build other things up. So let's have them be potty trained when they're ready to go to preschool. Let's have them, and it was awesome. So, look at the things that they can do. And even if they can't do it, right? Like, my kids weren't potty trained, but we got them there. And I was so focused. I was like, I am going to get my kid potty trained before preschool. Like, I was like gung ho about that. And we did.
I like that when you say focus on what they can do, because another thing, they may not be able to verbalize and speak, but most kids know how to tell you what they want.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They can be pointing.
Yes, they know what they want. So it's like, focus on, like, that's a win. That's a win. Don't focus on the fact that they couldn't tell you that they were hungry, but the fact that they let you know that they were hungry.
Yeah.
And without crying.
Right. Right.
So it's a win.
It is a win.
It's a win, because you think about it, for a child who, they want to say something, they know what they want and they can't verbalize, that has to be frustrating. So it'd be really easy for them to cry a lot. But if they are not crying and they're just like, hey, okay, I'm going to let you know what I want without crying, then hey, let's do this. And that's a win. So, oh my gosh, this has been so good for me today. I'm so glad we picked today to do this, because I'm sure that there are some parents out there with toddlers, or, their kids may be 10 now and they do know how to speak, and they were like, is that what we were going through? And no one ever really shared with them what was going on.
No.
So thank you for that. Oh my goodness, this has been so awesome. And so how many adventures have Zoe's gone on?
All right, so that's a good question. So the first one was the horse, so learns how to talk. The second one, of course, you had to jump on the bandwagon with learning online. Those adventures, and we've got lots of those, quarantining with the puppy, and all of that. So we got that going on. And then the next adventure is she learned some manners in Maui. And so
manners in Maui, I love it.
Yeah, we learned the Hawaiian language in Hawaii. So that's a lot of fun.
Cool. And then you have the journal.
In the journal.
And the journal.
Yes. And the coloring books are debuting like pretty soon. So I'm working on those. So that's fun.
Oh, cool. You've been busy.
So busy. Yes. Yeah. And positive affirmations, right? We can't leave those out. And on
Well,
that note, I drive like half the neighborhood to the elementary school in the morning with my kids. I've got 4 in the elementary plus, some couple of the neighborhood kids. And every morning we say our morning prayers, and then we say our positive affirmations. And I had the kids come up with a bunch. I had a sample of it was about 100, that I just found online. I just did a quick Google, and we read through them all. I was like, let's just pick 10, our top 10. We picked out our top 10. And I tell you, we say those every morning, and they have them all memorized. And, we have a leader in the group, and somebody will say, I'm an amazing person. And,
well, I have to do my shameless plug. We have Ren's affirmation. God is good
oh,
to
yes,
high. So you have to check it out because
yes,
my son is now 27, but we used to do the same thing. We would do
yes.
affirmations on the way to school. So it's so funny when you meet somebody, and especially my child is grown and yours, like, you just, you're still doing that, but we do the same thing.
Yes.
We,
Isn't that
those
great?
positive affirmations on the way to school. We actually used to have music that provided some power, positive affirmations that we would sing every morning. One year we sang that song every day going to school. It was so funny.
I love it. I love it.
We have,
I would
yeah.
love to talk to your son right now and see how that has affected him. Like if those, like when he's going through something really hard and challenging, if like that song comes to his mind, or, one of the affirmations comes to his mind, to just help
Yeah.
him endure, like just get through the day, get through that challenge.
Well, I know for a fact it does.
Good.
But and the thing is though, life can, like, will throw hard things at you. And so sometimes, the thing that we learned as children, it's there, but life seems bigger than that thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why we as parents have to continue to do it. We can't just do it when they're little, and then we have to continue to feed them affirmations and to continue to feed them all the positive things that they need to have. Even as a 20 with a 27-year-old, I still have to feed my son a positive affirmation every now and then. And it's okay. That's what I'm here for. And I guess what? I need somebody to feed them to me too. And I'm 52, and I still need somebody to feed them to me every now and then.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was just gonna say that. I was just talking to my mom this morning, and she was like, "Yeah, you can do this," like.
And that's, what? And we are at the end of our time, but that's so funny because that's what parenting is about.
It is. It doesn't end.
Being your child's cheerleader,
Mm-hmm.
being their advocate, being your child's, reminder of the greatness that they are. Reminding your child that they are great and that they are perfect. That's what we do as parents. Thank you, AJ, for joining me. And thank you for sharing all your knowledge with the world. Anybody out there, if you have a child, if you know a child, if it's your auntie's child, the lady at the church, let them know about Zoey's Great Adventures. Let them know that there is help, and that you are not saying that their child is not perfect, because their child is perfect. They just need a little extra love, and they need somebody to show them their superpower. So until next week, everybody, be blessed.